What's up, guys? Send that out. What's poppin'? Nick, what's up, Chance? What's up, Luxie? Let me throw up the screen right away. Let's get it rolling. Guys, if you were here last week, we only had one NQ trade, I believe. I think so. Yeah. And it almost hit TP. I know a lot of you guys did end up taking partials. I didn't. I was break even for NQ, but for UK 100 and DAX, we did amazing. I believe I caught 2 or 3 trades. They're all wins. I think it was 2. Both 1 to 2s. Wait, was it 3? I don't know. But we ended the week with this W. I don't know if you guys remember, but right before I ended stream, I told you guys I was going to set limits. And I did just that. And I'm going to go over the analysis or the breakdown. Yes, I believe so, Sparrow. But going back to it, let's delete this. That's my boss for today. But Friday, we ended with an amazing trade. I set limits, and the reason I set limits here is because let's go back a little bit. So we can recently or previously see that price was bullish on the hourly. We had a break of structure. We had a pullback. We had a break of structure. We had a pullback. We had a break of structure. And we had another pullback. And this is where we came into the markets on Friday, where we saw that last pullback on the hourly. That hourly did end up facilitating a deep enough pullback within the hourly leg, came into discount. And then we saw the 5-minute start shifting bullish, which ultimately gave me the idea that price was most likely going to continue with that overall bullish narrative. And that's exactly what we did. We waited for the 5-minute, obviously broke out. I waited for that pullback. We had a beautiful rejection off 71%, set limits at the break of this high, and ran it up to the highs for a nice little 1 to 2. Beautiful. But again, that was last week, so let's go into this week. Let's remove this. Let me go over the bias. So this week for NQ for UK 100 DAX, I'm going to go over NQ soon. But it's not looking, it looks good. Okay, it looks good, but it also has some confluences that are also pushing me away. I think I may still take a trade, obviously, if it presents itself. But obviously, when we came up to break those highs yesterday, we only swept them. Granted, our narrative is still bullish. We haven't flipped anything. We haven't flipped bearish. So I'm ultimately going to assume that price is going to continue bullish, especially because if we go to the daily, what do we see? We see this previously bullish leg. We had a pullback that came deep enough within discount. It just hit the equilibrium, I should say that. Just hit the equilibrium right here. So we know that pullback was facilitated. Then we saw the hourly start coming higher. So ultimately, we can expect these daily highs to be taken at some point. Okay, so that's where my narrative is still bullish. Also because the daily candle, when we opened up, we had no top wick. So ultimately, I think that price will come up and create that top wick. But I just don't like that price did not make a new high here. We almost swept it. Yes, Lucky C, thank you, Fire. Good job noticing that. But again, I'm still going to be bullish, even though it would have been a lot more optimal to see price actually close above these highs rather than wick it, because it just gives me the idea that price may have just used that as liquidity. But ultimately, I'm going to stick with the bullish bias, and I already see something kind of playing out where we can go down to lower time frames. We see price, where is it, this high? Price has broken this high within that internal structure. I drop my fib. And what I'd wait for is I'd wait for price to pull back within a discounted price and re-break those highs sometime during London Open. And if we can see a re-break of those highs, again, I'm not just going to take it if it breaks those highs from here. I need to see that pullback just for confirmation that price is going to continue to have that bullish-like trend up into those hourly highs. Okay, so I really think we'll take this. The only way I'm not going to take this is if price just rips, which we know how London can react. Price can just absolutely blow up. And if that's the case, I'm just not going to take it, right? We have tomorrow, we have the rest of the week. Same thing for UK 100, okay? The difference with UK 100 is we were previously bearish last week. We started to see the sell-off, which ultimately I thought it was going to be a pullback of this bullish leg. But we never fully facilitated that pullback, and instead we continued higher. And this is where I'm a little bit skeptical on buys here, because one, we could still facilitate that pullback, but two, looking at it a little bit closer, we ended up breaking this high still. So that tells us that price is still looking to potentially run bullish. So that's where I'm still going to keep the bullish bias. Obviously, price may just end up flipping on us and continuing to play that pullback that it was originally trying to play last week. And this may have just been a liquidity sweep to take price lower. But ultimately, if we go down to lower time frames, well, one, let's go to the daily. Same thing on the daily as DAX, no top wick. So I'm ultimately assuming that price may come up and create that top wick on the daily. But two, if we go down to lower time frames and we throw in our session indicator on, we can see that price just took some liquidity down at these lows, which was Tokyo lows, and we saw a bullish impulse right after. So ultimately, I think price is bound to shoot higher, but at this point, what's going to really push me over to take these buys is, well, one, I have a feeling we're going to end up breaking this high before London Open. I don't think I just want to take a break this high, even though it's valid. And the reason it's valid is because we seemingly had a bullish impulse. We have had a pullback, and we could expect price to continue pumping. But again, like, there's just a lot of counter confluences that are pushing me away. And either way, I have a feeling we'll break these highs before London Open. But if that's the case, we'll wait for that break of structure, maybe wait for another pullback, and then just continue to play that bullish trend as it continues to expand higher and higher. So ultimately, I'd like to see another break, another pullback, just to confirm that price is now bullish, and we can expect price to continue higher and higher. So again, today, it looks pretty good. It looks like we could get a setup, but ultimately, if it doesn't present itself at the time that London happens, or it does the opposite of what we expect it to do, I'm just going to sit on my hands. We are trading DAX, UK 100, and NQ. So let me go over NQ. What's up, Jay? What's up, Henry? What's up, Casper? So we're also trading NQ, guys. You guys know. What am I thinking for NQ? So we did have, let's go to the daily. So we did have a nice bullish candle ending last week's on Friday. Had a nice little bullish impulse. We had this daily candle open bearish, but ultimately I think we could just be facilitating a pullback, bottom wick to continue higher. Obviously, may not be the case, but ultimately that Friday candle is giving me the idea at least to maybe take this candle high or something along those lines. We go to the hourly, we can see that price has been bullish. Okay, we can see that clearly hourly has been pumping pretty bullish. We could just be coming up to rebalance some of these imbalances up here, but that's fine again because we're playing the lower time frames here. So from a 5-minute standpoint, I can clearly see we made a new 5-minute expansion, right? And obviously we could wait for that pullback and continuation, but again, I take trades on the 1 minute, so we can even go down to the 1 minute and see that if price was bullish on the 5-minute here, we can ultimately expect if price is going to continue bullish, that is probably going to facilitate some type of 1 minute pullback into discount before continuing higher. Obviously, it doesn't necessarily have to, and we could just see London Open very, very bullish, but I do think price will end up giving us some type of pullback. So what could I wait for? Honestly, I could see myself waiting for some type of break of some type of structural low, looking for that pullback and looking for that continuation down into discounted price. With this, it doesn't matter that price is bullish because, again, that's an hourly time frame. Yes, our bias is overall bullish, but we can catch these pullbacks, and this is typically what we do. This is typically my bread and butter, is catching these pullbacks with the understanding that as long as price shows us a structural shift within the market on the lower time frames, we could expect price to continue selling off into a discounted price before coming back up. So I think we're solid here. I think we'll shoot here as long as we get our entry. Let me get things right over here. How's your guys' weekend, though? Tell me. How was the weekend? Was it fire? Lit? You guys ready for a new trading week? I am. Boring without you. What's up, Kamal? Chance, I know. I'd be bored and shit. What's up, YouTube? Sorry, I forgot about YouTube here. How we doing on YouTube? Chilling? All right, so ultimately, price looks like it may end up stalling out before London Open here, which, again, like we could enter at a break of this high. Like we really could. I'm just very, very skeptical on it. Celebrate my birthday. Happy birthday, Henry. What'd you do? Or happy late birthday, I should say. But again, going back to UK 100, it's just there has been better days. Yes, we still look good. Show fib settings, please. Yeah. So I just have 0, 0.5, 0.71, and 1. You don't even really need 0.71. All you need to know is, okay, where's the top, where's the bottom, and then where's the equilibrium of that leg. Okay. But again, going back to what I was saying is there's been a lot better days than today, and obviously not every day is going to be picture perfect. You guys know that, especially if you've been trading for a while. But ultimately, it doesn't mean we have to take a trade today. What today is going to show us is price going to continue bullish? Okay, then tomorrow we can look for buys or look for a pullback. Okay, so unfortunately, Toker, I think it is, UK 100 and DAX is not offered on Legacy, but that's why we're also trading NQ. And we'll definitely look for some type of sell opportunity within here as long as this price gives us one. So we'll look to catch a trade there. If you are trading legacy, if you are trading your live accounts, that's why people are trading UK 100 DAX with me. This is where I trade my live account. And if you guys do want to start trading live, you can always DM me. I can set you up with my broker, so you can actually start catching these trades with me, because we've been killing it. We've been killing it this entire month. It's been a great month for me when it comes to UK 100 and DAX. I believe NQ we're still up, but not a lot. Nothing compared to UK 100 and DAX. So, but this is my bread and butter. This is where I love to trade. It moves beautifully, especially if you guys are new here. Stick around, find out. Obviously, today may not move as good as we're used to seeing, but the trade that I did break down right when I got on stream, beautiful execution, beautiful entry. It just moves beautifully. It moves picture perfect in that way, like pattern, where we'll see those breaks of structures. And I can just go to the 1 hour here, where we can see within the last, basically since January, all of February, we had that breakout, had a pullback. We've caught some buys up into here, had that breakout. We caught sells down into here, that pullback, breakout, caught sells down on that pullback, and then that continuation is what we're now looking for. So where we actually did catch buys within here. So 24. You're young, Henry. You're young. And all right, looks like Nas is going to give us that break. And again, guys, like once we see this break, I may wait for a break of these lows, to be honest. Once we see that break, I'm just going to look for that pullback and then that continuation down into discount. And it could happen fairly fast. Again, I'm only risking 15 contracts on M and Q. And I go for a simple 10-point stop loss, 20-point TP. Super simple. And again, we just wait for reactions. Again, I can go back to the trade from, where was it? Was it up in here? I lost it. I don't know where it's at. I lost it. I'm in short on NQTP on the break, already break even fire. Yeah, I'm expecting shorts. I'm just waiting for that extra confirmation of that break of structure pullback and that continuation down. All right, so UK 100 broke that high, guys. So at this point, again, like what I really need to see is I need to see a closure above that high, another pullback, and then another continuation, and I'll definitely look to shoot there. As far as DAX, it looks like we are getting that pullback. If we hit 50% and re-break those highs at London Open, I'm shooting. I'm shooting. What's up, Blue Dream? How you doing today? Okay, so for NQ, if that's what you're talking about, my stop loss is 10 points, super small, and a 20-point TP. So a nice little 1 to 2, but ultimately we have no setup yet to even like show it. If you're looking like for my TP and stop loss on DAX, nothing's set just yet, because again, I'm expecting price to sell off into discount. It can come as far as here. So meaning if it comes that far down, our stop loss is ultimately going to be down here. But if it just comes to equilibrium, then our stop loss will just be right under those structural lows. It will go higher. When it comes to my stop loss and TP, it's a little bit different when it comes to my DAX and UK 100 trading versus my NQ trading, but there's a reason for that. Let's see what happens here. Let me delete some of these lines just so there's not as much clutter. Again, I need to see price break these highs here. We'll see if it happens. Sometimes I go for more points. Vernon, as of right now, I don't, but we just started trading NQ during London about a month ago. So I'm ultimately always getting data to look to see if we can hold longer. There has been some opportunities where we could have held for a 1 to 4, 1 to 5, even a 1 to 8 at times. But when it comes to holding for more points, I'd rather just get data, because there also has been times where price just hits our 1 to 2 and then flips right back up. So the reason data is so important, at least to me, is because it allows me to see how many times is my trade continuously running versus how many times is it not. And it gives me an idea of, is it really worth shooting for those extra points? Sometimes it is, sometimes it's not. But again, in most cases, you definitely can. It just definitely make sure you're paying yourself at all times. So. Let's see how London Open treats it. I really want to see a break of this high. Nothing really presenting itself just yet. Again, if we close above these highs, guys, pull back within this new leg and take off, I'm going to buy. So be ready for that. And I'll let you guys know when I buy. But I need to see a break above these highs. If we just kind of wick it, stall out, I'm going to wait. All right, we got the break. Fire. We could just pump here too. Again, like that's one thing is like we could just see price fly here, especially knowing how UK 100 moves. Could just pump, right? And we're already kind of seeing that. But that's fine because it goes to show that price ultimately could just be confirming our overall bias as far as price does want to go bullish. And we also have DAX still. One thing I don't like though is like I guess within it's kind of shit structure. Like structure just doesn't look optimal. It really doesn't. Let's see how price closes. If we get a nasty top wick, guys, I'm ultimately going to wait because we could just see sells from there. But again, DAX is still in the picture. As long as we facilitate this pullback and then fly right back up, breaking these highs, I will look to enter there. But I'm hoping to also see a strong closure on UK 100 because again, with this top wick, it could just tell me that it's maybe facilitating some type of pullback, taking some more liquidity from these initial sells, and could just look to come further down. But ultimately, we've already taken Tokyo lows. I can expect price to take Tokyo highs. I'm just hoping it doesn't take Tokyo highs before we can get entry. And then for NASDAQ, again, it looks like we are going to go higher, which is totally fine. Again, that's why I wait. But ultimately, I don't know if I want to continue to buy just because of how overextended we are within this 5 minute. I really do think we will see a pullback at some point. All right, so UK 100 is now hitting equilibrium. Let's see how price reacts. If price just continues to dump, I'm just going to let it dump. I'm not going to sell. I'd rather just let it play out and show me what it's going to do going into tomorrow. But ultimately, I do think we will see some type of reaction and see price come right back up and break these highs just because our overall narrative from a higher time frame standpoint is bullish. So I really do think we'll see that. And then as far as NQ, looks like we could have just came up, taken some liquidity, could still come down here. Again, we will be waiting for maybe a little bit. It just depends how long we're going to wait here. But stops will move down here. I'm not in this trade yet, guys, but just waiting. Nice reaction though. Nice reaction. We like seeing those reactions. So if we just come up and now break these highs, guys, I'm going to shoot here. I think I am. At least for DAX. UK 100 is still kind of waiting. But honestly, I kind of prefer DAX. Just based off the higher time frames again. Like we took these highs, but ultimately I do expect price to come up and still play out through these highs. But again, like this is where obviously there's some risk on this trade, just like any trade, is based off this candle here. Like we could have just been taking liquidity to then sell right back off. But the higher time frames are really pushing me over the edge because the daily time frame is still bullish and the 1 hour supporting that bullish structure and continuing higher to take these highs and make a new daily high. So I'm liking it. Entries at a break at this high, guys. Stops are below the structural low, and we'll see what happens. And there goes NQ. NQ is now selling off. Again, that's why I wait, guys. Because again, even though it was originally at the open pumping bullish, again, we've been bullish for a decent amount of time to the point where I can expect price to now come lower within a discounted price of that 5 minute range. So still not in here yet, guys. Again, price still has about a minute before it closes. Could end up just coming right back down. Could have been a momentary reaction. But that's why I wait for the re-break of the highs in most cases. In some cases, I do enter at 50%. but not all cases. It's usually at my A plus trades that I do enter at those highs. And as far as this reaction here, I'm probably going to wait for entry. It just doesn't look too clean just based off that top wick, guys. All right, let's pay attention here because we're about to get a break of this low. Let's hope we do break it, not just wick it, because again, that would suck. Done for the day. Let's go, Henry. It's a fire trade, I can't lie. I really hope it doesn't wick it, guys. From this high to this low, this will be our fib. As long as we get a break beneath the lows, we'll be solid. And then what we're waiting for is just that pullback into equilibrium at least. And then what I mainly look for is a reaction candle. Oh, I hate when it changes, bruh. That shit just pissed me off. Ugly ass colors, but it's fine. We'll deal with it. YMCA fib. I know. All right, so UK 100 sold off. That's why I'm gonna wait, guys. We are seeing some bearish step in with DAX. My limit is still set. My limit will still be set unless price just shows an extreme amount of bearish volume, step in, and we start breaking these lows down here. Then at that point, I'm going to remove my limit. But at this point, if we do see price still react and go bullish and break these highs, I'm assuming that price could still push a little bit here. So, but again, we could see a totally different narrative. And I told you guys, oh fuck, oh my god, I wasn't paying attention. We just missed equilibrium. Just miss equilibrium, guys, and need to see it hit. Let's just hope it doesn't run without us. I hate those days where price will barely miss it and still end up playing out without our bias or through our bias. But I mean, can't control that sometimes. Sorry, I'm like flipping back and forth, guys. All right, guys, that reaction, honestly, I think we could just see sells from here on out, but I'm not going to impulsively hop into sells because, again, like we just missed that pullback. And to me, yes, price can sell off still, but ultimately I really need to see that pullback. But this is a good example of the reaction that I would have liked to see. If this would have hit equilibrium and reacted like that, we would have been taking sells for sure. But the fact that it didn't makes me want to wait a little bit because price still has room to come up a little bit higher. And we'll see if price does react. But the only way I will enter is, again, if we see a reaction like this. Not necessarily similar, but we need to see a strong reaction off either the equilibrium, this order block, or the 71% to give me the idea that price is holding at those levels. But again, if price just ends up selling off through, I'm not going to take it. I really need to wait for that full pullback, even though we barely missed it. I mean, quite literally barely fucking missed it. I gotta follow my rules, guys. UK 100 is coming back up. I'm still not the biggest fan of it, I can't lie. I think I may hold off on UK 100. That opening candle turns me off. We're still not in here yet. There's some, yeah, that's why I do think we could end up coming higher. Are you talking about NQ, Henry? Our range expands because it went lower, but that doesn't mean price hit equilibrium because where price was when price did come up, or where our range was when price came to those highs, was right here. So don't get it twisted. Again, once being that price didn't hit equilibrium and we're still selling off a little bit lower, that just expands our overall range. And again, this doesn't mean price hit equilibrium. That was prior to where our range is sitting now. So remember that. But I'm curious to see, again, my stop does end up getting moved down a little bit. because again, our structural lows are still being made. But again, don't enter yet, guys. I wouldn't enter yet. That's why we wait for that break of those highs. And we are just looking ugly on UK 100, guys. I think I'm going to throw UK 100 to the side, to be honest, and let it play out today and see what it ends up giving us. I have a feeling we are going to go short here just based off that first candle. Again, it doesn't necessarily have to. We could still see that bullish impulse, but I'd rather just give UK 100 today to play out if we if we are going to see that expansion lower, and then we can just play off of that new bearish leg tomorrow, and so on, so on. So as far as DAX though, I'm still going to hold strong to it. Obviously, I'm not in, but if price holds somewhere down here and continues up higher, solid. If it just breaks through, then I'm going to close limits, or remove limits, I should say. And just, it'll be a no trade day for UK 100 and DAX. But I'm assuming that NAS may give us something. So be ready here, guys. It'd be optimal to see price come up into this order block, actually, filling that imbalance, and then selling off a little bit lower. Let's move this down. That's so ugly. Guys, these aren't my normal colors. It's just... Alright, that's a little better. It's a little better. Alright, we're now tapping equilibrium. Or at least about to. But we're blowing through it. That's fine. If we close above it, then I'm not going to take sells off the equilibrium. But if we do come up into the order block and react heavily off the order block, I will take a break of this candle low, as long as we see a good reaction. But if we just see a very strong bullish candle fly through this, I'm going to hold back a little bit. I need to see those reaction candles, because again, that's what I play. I play the reaction of price. Blowing through it. As long as we see a top wick here, and we start seeing some sells step in, or sellers step in, I will set my entry down here at a break of this candle low. But if we close stupidly strong, at least for buy side, then we're going to step away. It's going to be an ugly close, I can tell. Yeah. All right, so the only way I'm going to enter now, guys, is if... like, it's still solid, it's still nice, it's just not the best reaction, guys. Yeah, Jay, I don't do, like, I need to see a reaction. Like, that's my biggest thing. It's because of, things like this, is being that we saw so much bullish volume step into play here, we could just see price fly, okay? And that's why I wait for the reaction candles. I need to see a very nice reaction showing me that, okay, we did end up facilitating that pullback, but sellers are clearly holding at that level. Yeah, I think it's going to fly, Henry. Yeah, guys. It may just be a no trade day as a whole, unless DAX still does something nice. UK 100's out of the picture. We're going to look like we're going to sell today. But again, like, I don't want to take these sells, guys. Like, it's just not my go-to. But DAX still looks good. We're seeing some type of reaction off the 71% down at this order block. So we could still see a break of these highs. We could still have a trade for today. But NASDAQ is, I know there's a lot of lines here, guys. Let me remove this. Or it's definitely off the picture, out of the picture as of right now. The only way I would take this is if price does sell off again and then make some type of new low to react. But if we see a break of these highs, we could just take that 1 minute back up higher. We could. But ultimately, I'm still not the biggest fan of that. But if the 1 minute shows it, then we might shoot. So today's not over. It just depends on what we see. But again, this is a perfect example of why I don't take limits on NQ, because one, we're trading the 1 minute, and those reactions are everything to me. It tells me so much just based off a candle pattern. What sorry, I forgot. I lost my train of thought. It just tells me based off that candle pattern, okay, I could expect price to continue back lower just based off that reaction. That's really what it's about. But at this point, being that we kind of just flew through all those prime levels of that premium price, even that order block, it's telling me that we could just see buys higher. I know some of you guys may be IFVG traders, like something like this, see IFVG shoot higher. But again, I don't trade IFVG, so I'm not really going to shoot for that. But actually, this was a nice little IFEG because we saw price break through it. Then we saw price bottom wick down back into it and take right back off from there. So again, like you could buy here, but ultimately it's just not my system and I don't want to. UK 100 is on 50% retracement. Yeah, I'm no longer a fan of it. Like we're seeing a lot of back and forth here where we initially did want to go higher. We had a horrible close with a horrible top wick. Same thing here. We try to go higher. We had a nasty top wick. So even if we do go higher here, I think I'm going to step away from UK 100. I'd rather just wait for DAX just because, again, like we're already showing that we're really choppy. I'd rather see clean price where we had a nice little bullish expansion at open, had a pullback, and then a continuation of that expansion. But again, you guys can definitely shoot here if you want. Like we did come down, ended up taking these lows, you know, like as a form of liquidity. Ultimately, like we took liquidity down here too. And that's really what was pushing me over for buys. Okay. But again, like it's not looking too optimal. And again, if you guys are new here, I'm really big quality over quantity, guys, like super big, super heavy quality over quantity. Just because, again, like I'm not here to call bullshit trades to you guys. I'm here to actually make money myself and then make you guys money as well. Young Mingo FX, I'm trading DAX, UK 100, and NQ. But as of right now, our NQ trade got invalidated. Our UK 100 trade got invalidated. And ultimately, I'm just waiting for DAX to potentially play out into these highs, breaking these highs. Just because we did see a nice little bullish expansion, we saw price pull back, and ultimately if we see that next bullish expansion breaking these highs, we could expect price to most likely take off for the rest of the day. And the hourly looks clean, so. Henry's a G. I did see that too. And again, guys, for NQ, guys, there's been a lot of opportunities earlier than London Open. So maybe I start trading it earlier, but ultimately, as of right now, like the data goes to show, like, you know, guys, price could still sell off within this range. Like we never broke these highs, so we could still see sells. But as of right now, all my reaction points got invalidated. So again, like I would just have to watch price sell off, which would suck. You know, like you guys can definitely enter, but I just need to see price sell off again, just based off the fact that it totally invalidated all my reaction points, because it could just be a short-term sell-off to rebalance and go higher within this, you know, within this imbalance right here. So that's where I really do need to see those reactions. I want to find a good example for you guys of like what I mean by like a valid reaction. The X is still looking good, guys. So as long as we end up blowing through this imbalance and breaking these highs, my limits are still set. I should probably move down my stop. But again, if DAX just ends up breaking lower, we break these lows, guys, I'm probably going to be on stream for a while, so like I'm not going nowhere. But, you know, if I do end up hopping off later and we're still waiting for that limit to play out, just keep in mind that I really need to see that continuation without seeing those breaks lower. Who's new here? Again, like one thing too, guys, if you guys want, I've been talking about it, by the way. Any trades? Not yet, Alvin. You're good, Alvin. Did you just take a picture of me? Yes, Chance, I took a picture exactly of your profile. Nah, I took a screenshot of something on my other page. But weird. What I was gonna say, guys, is again, if you guys haven't been here or new, we just started on Legacy offering instant accounts. So if you guys want to skip the evaluation phase and start trading your instant funding accounts with me, you can go ahead and DM me. So again, like you can DM me on Instagram. My Instagram is Niicksfx. or you can DM me here on Discord. I respond to every DM. But just let me know if you're interested in instant funding. It's super easy in the sense of you don't have to deal with the evaluation phase. You don't got to deal with all that bullshit. And passing it, you just go straight to live trading and you can start getting payouts. I'm on it right now. Let's go, E. Fire. See, E's on it, guys. Even though we haven't had no trades yet, again, we're not here to take quantity. We're here to take quality. And that's where I want you guys to realize that if you guys do get those instant funding accounts, one, you're going to start getting payouts, okay? Especially because we cover London, we cover pre-New York or New York, we cover Power Hour, Asia session. There's a bunch of opportunities for you guys to go and trade those instant fundings and actually start making some money. So that's why we did end up releasing those. Nick, I got a question. He said he's doing 5-3, but the guy I called told me how I pay on the first month. Jay, it can definitely happen. Like, I have had people just copy my trades and get payouts, but that's just if you're going to stick to copying his trades. Like, when I say I teach my students to focus on learning rather than like payouts and stuff like that, that doesn't necessarily mean I don't want them to not get payouts. No, like, I want them to get payouts, but ultimately what I mean is I don't want them to be so focused and set on just making money that it hurts them in the long run, because ultimately I'm going to teach them how to trade on their own, how to make their own money, and how to be their own traders. And if their mindset is only money, they're going to see a lot of psychological issues that's ultimately going to stop them from making money. Just like, again, the fear of missing out. A lot of people, because they want to make money so fast when they get into trading, they enter on bullshit trades. They enter because they want to make money, or they exit early because they're scared of losing money. And it's all goes back to the fact of they're thinking about money. Okay. And again, like Henry said, focusing on payouts is short-term vision. Like, you want to be able to learn the processes of trading, and in the process of learning how to trade, if you're just focused on learning and actually applying the right steps, you're going to get payouts. That's the thing, is you're forced to, like, it literally has to happen because you're following all the processes. You're learning how to do everything correctly. Therefore, in return, those payouts will come. But again, if you're getting in first month, again, like, there has been students that follow along with our trades and do get payouts. But a lot of our students come in because they actually want to learn how to trade on their own. They don't want to just copy people forever, because at some point I may not be here. You know, I'm going to go traveling soon, and I'm going to be streaming while I travel, but there's going to be a day or two where I'm on the plane and I can't stream, right? Therefore, it's like, if you guys are solely just used to taking my trades and I'm not there, and you go and take your own trades and you start losing, that's a prime example of why you should be focused on being your own trader, so you actually know how to execute, when to exit, and everything along those lines. Buys on NQ. I'm not going to buy on NQ yet, just because we haven't broke any type of structure. If we broke this high and had this pullback, then yes, like 100% I would shoot here. But ultimately, we didn't break that structure. We're still within this bearish leg, so I'm going to give time to play out a little bit yet. Just made an account before this fire. And again, guys, if you guys aren't interested in instant fundings and you guys actually want to go through the evaluation phase, you can always use my code for a discount. Code Nick, and it'll get you a nice little discount. But if you guys are interested in instant fundings, hit me up. And we can, run it up. Alvin, first learn, trade, lose, learn more, lose, trade again, lose. Yeah, exactly. Alvin's right. And you really taking on 5 people for it? Yeah, Jay. It's me and Luca, actually. So you're going to have access to 2 of the best traders, I'd say, in the industry. And again, like, we have a full-on course that you'll first go through, and then we have structured calls that we'll be attending and stuff like that. And then you have access to me, so you can always text me, ask me questions and stuff like that. But ultimately, the reason we pick that structure is because, 1, we want you to have a general idea of how we do things, and then 2, when we get in the calls, the weekly calls, you actually can start trading with us and ultimately just be there to ask questions, and then we'll personally go through your trade journal and stuff like that, just to make sure you're doing everything right. And that's something I did with a lot of my students, is I forced them to get data off the bat, because a lot of times, my students will come in, and just like anyone, sometimes you don't know what questions to ask, so you don't know where your problems are occurring. But if you have the data that I've been telling you to track, you can come in there, show me your journal. I can go back, review things, even if it's about your psychology. Because again, the biggest thing that most students face is the psychology aspect. Most of my students learn the structure, learn the technicals within the first couple weeks, truly. And then from there, a lot of what holds them back is just the psychology of things. That's why I teach them from early on. And that's why I even gave you guys sauce about forget about the money. Like, that's really where I saw my growth, is when I stopped thinking money, 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 and stopped trading for money. Obviously, everyone trades for money. But when I stopped fantasizing about it, I guess I could say, I saw the most progress, because I was so focused on actually learning and so focused on getting better as a trader that I just started making money naturally because I was doing everything right, truly. But Jay, yeah, if you are interested, you can always DM me or something like that. We can talk. Or yeah, do it with him. Again, like, a lot of people, there's a lot of good mentors out there, guys. Like, here's the thing is, like, people, there's so many different ways to trade and there's so many different ways that work. But what's very important is, if you're going to take a mentorship, you should make sure that you're not going and deep diving into other information, because at that point you're just now clouding your judgment off two different systems, and they could both work, but two different systems mean two different win rates, and it could ultimately hurt you. Like, there was some students that ultimately at the beginning were hurting themselves because they were trying to trade with me, but then they were also trying to get information elsewhere, and it just doesn't work like that. It doesn't. It's an intake for you, Luca. But again, guys, like, this is why we have these calls too, is because, like, you're like, a lot of my students pay for one-on-one access, so they have me 24/7. But again, I'm here for a short amount of time, so I try to spit as much sauce as I can. Obviously, I can't tell you guys everything, but I do tell you guys a lot in the sense of how to actually, like, be a successful trader. And that's ultimately, I'm just trying to teach you guys to be your own traders. Like, I'm here giving signals, and you guys notice is, like, the people who actually stay after the signal, win, lose, break even, are the people who are actually trying to learn, right? And again, I'm not saying signals are bad. Like, I myself, okay, DAX looking good, guys. I'm going to take these buys if it breaks these highs. I ultimately did take signals at 1.2. I made some money, right? It's a good way of making some quick money. But my goal, my mindset was, I wanted to just be able to trade on my own. I wanted to be able to sit on my computer, look at the markets, understand them, read them, enter at the right time, exit at the right time, and be my own trader, right? And that should be everyone's goal. Like, if you're in here just to, like, make a quick bag, great. But I think almost every successful trader can vouch is they probably started making the most money when they're their own trader, truly. But also, guys, I know I was talking about instant fundings and stuff like that. But if you guys don't have the funds, like, for an account yet, again, like, there's another reason why I'm here, guys, is I post a YouTube video every single week about every single week, and every single video that I do post has a free giveaway in there. So you guys can win a free account. All you got to do is just comment. I'd say like, comment, subscribe. Subscribe, because again, even if you don't win the first giveaway, if you're subscribed, you'll get the notification on the next video, and every single video I drop has a giveaway for a 100K account. Yeah, look what George said, guys. George was in here quite a bit. George was in, I even think, Mamba Sting. And now George is getting payout after payout on his own. Subbed, fire Alvin. Alvin's a G. But yeah, guys, again, go comment on the video I linked. It'll give you a chance to win a free account. Even George was one of the winners for a free account. And I always talk about him because George absolutely killed. Like, George got that free account, and George, you've made 4K so far off that one free account. I love trading because you get paid by your own skill. No one can take that from you. Exactly, Henry. Sorry, YouTube, I wasn't paying attention. Okay, YouTube's good. Exactly, Henry's right. Like, again, like, knowing that you have the skill to make money, it is the best feeling ever. 3K, huh? But still, I'm now 2 days away from another payout. Also, fire George. Guys, be like George. Be like George. Go comment on the video. Win an account. Make 3K. Or don't comment and get left in the dust. Like, it's up to you. Guys, NQ's kind of chopping around. But this is the reason I didn't want to take buys, is because, again, without seeing this breakage structure of these highs, we have no confirmation that price is now bullish. We were still within this bearish leg here. Therefore, that's probably why we're still seeing price sell off here. It's just being very choppy. And ultimately, it could just be because it's Monday. But yeah, Nigel. Is it Nguli? Sorry, I don't know how to pronounce it. That should be everyone's goal. Like, truly, everyone's goal should just be your own trader. Learn how to trade. Because, again, like, I'm about to go to Thailand. Imagine if I was taking signals still. Like I'd have to be taking signals while traveling. No, like, I'm going to be traveling and trading every single day because that's the lifestyle I built for myself. Truly. It's just being able to make money from anywhere in the world. Yeah, Henry. I'll be in Thailand in March, guys. March 8th. I probably won't be live that Sunday because I'll be in the air for like fucking 20 hours. But I'll be live out there too. I'll be live and lit. It'll be like a 2 p.m. for me out there. So I'll be lit. Your father's there in March too? Fire. I heard it's nice and going to do a little bit of exploring. I'll be there for like 2 weeks. We'll see how it is. That was definitely my goal this year, is just travel a little bit more. Maybe more at the end of the year. Or mid-year too. Then you'll stay by my side. What we need to see M&Q to enter. So for M&Q, if we do end up seeing a break above these highs, you could end up playing this bullish leg back up higher. So I do think that that's definitely like somewhere you could shoot. But if we do end up seeing sells, oh my God, hold on, I'm fucking up here. If we do end up seeing price break these lows, then you can still continue to play this bullish leg. Only way I wouldn't play a new bullish leg is if price sold off and hit this discounted area. Because again, like, our overall narrative for today was being that the 5-minute had made a new high. We were ultimately expecting the 1 minute to come down into at least equilibrium or a discounted price of this bullish leg to continue higher. So my long-term narrative is bullish, but I really want to see that pullback into that discounted range of that, or into that discounted 5-minute range, before I end up even thinking about buy. I like the way you're talking. Nice, calm. I'm new and don't see others writing. Oh, Max. So the chat that I'm talking to is actually in Discord. So I can even send you a link to the Discord. My bad. I didn't post it. So this is the link to our Discord. We have a whole Discord community. If you're new, we cover every single session, a bunch of different traders. I just pinned it at the top of the chat, so you can always join there and join me in the Discord lives and stuff like that. So that's who I'm talking to. We're in Thailand. I'll be flying into Bangkok, and then I'll be traveling down to Pattaya and then all around those areas. So I'll be there for 2 weeks, so I got some time to, travel around. Index buys, did DAX fly? Yeah, guys, I'm in DAX buys. Let's see how things go. Again, stops are below these lows. TP is at a nice little 1 to 2. Again, my first target is a 101. So once we hit 101, at this point, I follow my management plan and I make sure I am at break even. And then I also close half of my positions. And the reason I do that is because there's been a lot of times, especially last year, where price will hit 101 and either come back to break even and continue higher, or just come back to stop loss. And that's why it's very important to me, at least, to pay myself. And then I'll let the rest of my runners run to 1 to 2. But we've been actually killing it. So let's see what happens. This looks like a really good trade, guys. So if we win, this just adds to what we've made so far this month. If we lose, I've made a really good amount, so I really could care less. But ultimately, I think DAX looks good. Let's shoot here. I should probably take a pic of this. I forgot that I told my Discord people I would post in my Discord. Oh, fuck. All right, so sent that over there. Where's the chat here? Bangkok, don't play with me. Dude, yeah, I've gotten so much shit for saying I'm going to fly into Bangkok. You have your own Discord? I do, Chance. I do have my own Discord. If you want me to send you a link, you can DM me, Chance. I'll send it over to you. I'm somewhat active in it. I'm more active in my Telegram, to be honest. But one thing I'm gonna start doing is posting the trades that I do take on DAX and UK 100 in my Discord. So if you guys aren't able to catch stream, they'll be in there. But I haven't made the section yet. I totally forgot that I said I was gonna do that. So, but we'll see what happens. I hope we do see a break through these highs. That's ultimately what I want to see. This wick is a little bit scary, but ultimately, we have a good little thing. Why and there you taking pics of me and everything? I'm not in your Discord. DM me, chance. I'll send you over the link. Again, I'm not as active in my Discord. Decent amount of members in there, but I definitely want to be more active. Nick's gonna go crazy. Bangkok is nice, but Pattaya is crazy. Is a city size. Henry. Well, I'm not actually staying in Pattaya. Like, I'm staying off a little bit out of the city, on the beach. I forgot the name of the small little town. But every so often I'll be traveling into Pattaya to go shopping at the malls and stuff like that, and to check out like some of the cool cafes and stuff like that over there. But I'll definitely, most of my trip is just gonna be spent like chilling on the beach. But there'll be some videos, guys. There'll be some vlogs and stuff like that. Oh, there's no price chance. My Discord's free. I'm new here to this chat. What is the estimated range to begin with? I have about 150. It just depends. Jake. Also, if you wanted to double that 150, you can always DM me, because the broker that I use has a deposit bonus, meaning if you were to put that 150 in, you would technically have $300 to trade with. But ultimately 150 is a solid start. It just depends. It, sometimes it kind of sucks because my stops are decently big. Like right now it's a 70-point stop, and even if you're to risk $1 pip or a point, whatever you want to call it, ultimately that, you're still having a pretty hefty stop loss. George, nah, that's all you. This guy Henry. What is JR40 on Legacy? Sadly, JR40 is not on Legacy. But the reason I do trade this is because I trade this on my live account with a lot of other people in here. And again, like, if you guys are interested in just getting on the broker that I'm using so you can actually start taking these trades with me, you can always DM me. I'll send it over to you. UK 100 is kind of chopped. NQ still coming lower. I like that. Again, we never really had entry just based off how price reacted within here. We're just kind of chopping out. I don't like that. Nick, all the chicks have dicks over there. Watch out. I'm bringing my girl, so I ain't got to worry about all that. I heard it's scary over there, though. I know. Jay, how do you know that, though? You got first-hand experience over there, though? If she's too beautiful, she's probably a man. That's the rules. Fucking Henry. Henry would know, too. Henry's been out there a couple times. Henry loves Bangkok. Guys, I hate this reaction. Like, I really want to see a break through these highs. Ultimately, like, this is still my entry, but I really, really do want to see price break through this, because ultimately we could just be treated as liquidity if price just came up and swept as liquidity to go higher. To go lower. But if we do see a break through these highs, that'll give me a lot more confidence in the overall expansion of this trade going later into London. Thailand is general beautiful. Yeah. Of course George wants to go. Henry loves. That's crazy, Alvin. Yeah. It'd be cool over there. Again, like I said, like, most of my time in Thailand will just be spent on the beaches. Both of my places out there are right on the beach, so it'll be cool. There'll be a lot of content for you guys. As far as like vlogs, I'll still make some trading content out there too. And again, I'll still be live most of the days. Mickey, I'm still in DAX. When I get into a trade, guys, even if we have these types of reactions, I'd rather just hold on to this trade, even if that means me losing. Again, I'm comfortable with the loss just because we've done so well this month. And that's where, like, I want to tell you guys is, like, that's where you guys have to be here every single day. Obviously, not everyone can't make it here every single day. But the reason I say it's very important to be here every single day is because if you guys just join today and let's say we hypothetically lose, I'm fine. All right, we've killed it this entire month. We just came off, or I'm still on a win streak. And we ran it up. We've had so many winning trades. But obviously, if you guys weren't here, then you guys can't have the same experience as me. And that's why it's important. If like you guys are taking signals from someone, even if it's not me, Luca, Mark, Mamba, super important to be there every single day. Because if you guys miss that winning day, like that ultimately is going to kill your win rate. That's ultimately going to kill everything at the end of the day. I'm on Discord now, but I cannot write anything. Oh, so Max, you have to go into the general chat. So you can't type in the AMA chat, but on the left-hand side, if you scroll up to community, right there it says general, and that's where everyone's typing. Fucking George, dude. It's not bigger than mine. That's crazy. Wow, guys. But yeah, going back to what I was saying is, no matter who you're trading with, Mark, me, Luca, Chris, Mamba, Emmett, you guys need to make sure that you're there every single day, because if not, you're not going to have the same win rate. Even if it's the day where we lose, like let's say you guys miss a day and we lose, you may think it's good long term, but that day could have been a win, right? And again, like I preach that all the time, and that's like another like reason like I can go back and say like this is very important to be your own trader too, is because being that I'm my own trader and I've had a very successful month when it comes to UK 100 and DAX, I'm comfortable taking a loss. Even if I didn't have a good month, I'd still be comfortable taking a loss, because again, like I know my system. I know even if I take a loss, that next trade statistically should be a win. Obviously, it's not always the case, but that's just how I look at trading, right? Usually like my losses are just a reset, breaking my win streak, and it just resets me, allowing me to go back to my winnings or my winning streaks. Bro, I don't even want to know. George, how would you know? Okay, hi, I'm a woman from Denmark and I would like to learn things. Hell yeah. Love that. Cheers. Yeah, so we trade here. If you're new to the Discord, basically every session. We trade every session in here. It's not just me. There's a lot of other traders and coaches in here. But feel free to join anytime that we do announce that we are live. We're always live on YouTube as well, so you always see that as well. But yeah, we're always just feel free to ask any questions and stuff like that. We're always chopping it up, see what we can take out of these markets. But we've had a fairly good month. I'd say I've had a really good month. Great second month of the year, to be honest. And yeah. Go to the Soy Cowboy Dollhouse and game on the Bangkok. Henry, are you just looking shit up right now on the internet? Gonna be there again for December for Tomorrowland. What? There's a Tomorrowland out there? Really? So every video post you give a funded. Yeah, every single video I do post, guys, I give away a free 100K account. So I'll link it again for you guys who just hopped up in here. But yes, every single video, like obviously like my old videos, those giveaways have already been like given away, but every new video that comes out, yes, I'm in a position right now. I'm in buys. It's not looking the best right now, but I was just telling someone I'm not going to exit, guys. You guys can exit if you guys want to, but again, like there's a reason I don't exit early. MNQ did dump. There's a reason I don't exit early, and that's because, again, like just because we are seeing some short-term drawdown here doesn't necessarily mean price is ultimately going to hit stop loss. Yes, it can, 100%. And even if it does, like we can use this as a data point as far as we saw price wick these highs, and that could have been an indication that price just used this as liquidity to sell right back off. But ultimately, I got to stay strong to my original bias. As far as we saw expansion on the 5-minute, we had a pullback and we saw continuous expansion. And then also looking at the higher time frames, we also are bullish, so we can ultimately expect price to continue bullish. But granted, again, like you guys can exit if you want, but just based off my system, it's better to take these losses sometimes if it comes to a loss than to exit early. Because again, like that's even a problem I had early on, is I would be in drawdown and be like, oh, this is a bad trade, I'm gonna exit. And then I'd look back at it later and it would end up flying. And I just ended up FOMOing, or not even FOMOing, I guess I could say, but I let fear get involved in my trade, and that ultimately can hurt people. Yeah, on NQ, it'd be, if it's for 40, yeah, it'd be 160 ticks M. Yes. No, she's the owner of the strip club, the host, and I love talking. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, Henry. I thought you were talking about like, oh my gosh. Wow. All right, it's Peep NQ. NQ did end up selling off, but we still haven't broke these lows. So ultimately, I need to see a break of those lows for me to now consider us within this new bearish leg, but we have not had that yet. So I'm speechless, Henry. I really did not expect that, like, whatsoever. Like, wow. Wow, Henry. Again, guys, UK 100 did end up dumping. Again, that's why I did not enter buys after all. Just because of this reaction that we saw at market open, it just didn't give me confidence in obviously expecting price to continue higher at that point. That doesn't mean we can't see price come lower and then continue higher later into London or going into New York, but ultimately it just didn't give us the best signal there. As far as the hourly looks good here still. I like the hourly. The 4 hour looks all right. But again, like the biggest bias too is the higher time frames, and then ultimately seeing that the daily has no top wick. I really do think at some point we will see the daily create that top wick. It's just a matter of time. And the only way I could see us losing this trade is if price did come down further, take liquidity, and then came higher. And that obviously can be the case. But again, even if that happens, that's fine because I can just go back at data and ultimately see, if it was a bad entry. But just based off what I'm seeing, even if we lose here, it's not a bad entry. It has nothing to do with the entry. And I'm just speaking, off of the data that I would get myself. It just really comes down to, did price want to go up at that time? Were we too early? Which again, sometimes you can't depict and determine if you're going to be too early or not. It's just a matter of, did price have a different objective at the time of entry? And again, that's what happens. But the biggest thing that to take from this trade is win or lose, I'll come back just like you guys should if you're trading with me. Get data as far as what did the overall bias do? Did we get taken out and price went higher? Or did price just, again, we still have room to win here. Price could just be having a short-term pullback to end up expanding higher. And that's something, we still got to consider. And that's why I don't exit early, is because just because we're in drawdown for a little bit doesn't mean price is a loss. Yes, it could mean that. And in some cases, depending on your system, you could exit early to avoid a full loss. But again, just based off data from my years of trading, majority of the time, it's better to take that loss. It is, because it gives you a whole, it gives you a lot more data, and it allows you to see, okay, what truly played out. And again, a lot of times, your bias is correct. I can tell you right now, even if we did lose here, I 99% guarantee price is still going to expand higher to create that daily top wick. And if it doesn't, we could just be seeing a deeper pullback of some type of higher time frame, which could be price coming down lower, and we could see price expand later on. But again, and this is something I even tell my students, in most cases, if not all cases, you're just too early. It could be a couple seconds too early, could be a couple minutes, couple days, couple weeks, but in any way, or in basically all shapes, in any situation, you're just a little early. Really how it is. And again, that's where data is so important. That's why I preach at dailies, because that data is ultimately going to tell you how early were you, and in being early, was there anything that you could have done differently to make sure that doesn't happen again? I know, NQ's being weird as fuck. I can't lie. This is why I'm not entering anything, because we're just so choppy. Either way, even if we did get a break of structure here, guys, the way we reacted as we came up into these premium areas, we just blew through these. We're just ugly right now. Are we in a position? Binny Boss, I'm in DAX. I'm in DAX right now. I'm in DAX buys. But as far as NQ, I'm in nothing. We're just seeing a little back and forth game where we're seeing nice bearish structure. We did end up continuing with that bearish structure, never made a new low, and then we're seeing NQ pump now. So we could see NQ finally break these highs and tell us that, okay, we are going to continue bullish for the rest of the session, and we could take some type of buying position. Okay, now that we broke these highs. But ultimately, I'm just not a fan of buys. Doesn't mean buys can't continue to play out. Obviously, the hourly is very bullish in the sense of we had a nice little bullish push prior to these hourly candles, these 30-minute candles. But we had these last two hourly candles push very nicely, and that's where I did expect buys from the session. But I just really wanted to see the pullback of this 5-minute leg before we continued on with those buys. And ultimately, again, this is a prime example of price is gonna, or the markets are gonna have its own objective. It's gonna do what it wants. And it's just about making sure that if you are going to take a trade, that it follows all of your rules. Because if I would have taken a trade impulsively, like right here, we would have probably lost. Even if I took it up here, we may have won, but ultimately I'm breaking my rules to win, and that's not trading. Like I don't want to teach you guys bad trading. I'm here to teach you guys what trading actually is. And sometimes that's just sitting on your hands because setup's not there. Even if that means, okay, no trade day. I mean, granted, I'm in a trade, so I can't say no trade day. And we're coming back up, so that's nice. Let me make sure I'm in. Sometimes it don't be putting me in. All right, I'm in. We're chilling. And keep printed trendline liquidity first to push higher. All of them say demo. All of them say demo chance. When you pass them, it says demo. Even if you get instant, it says demo. No, it just says that because it technically like is like demo trading, but like it's still live trading. Like you can still get payouts. Like I still get payouts and stuff like that, but it always says this. Sim funded, exactly. What's my TP for DAX? For DAX, it's just a 1 to 2 based off my entry. So break of this high, I just go for 1 to 2. But my system is once we go to partials, I go 1 to 1, or I go to break even, I take 50% out, and then I let the rest run into 1 to 2. But yeah, chance, like even on your account, when you pass it, it'll still say demo. That's just how it is. Yeah, I'm in DAX, guys. Again, we are pumping higher. And whoever said, am I exiting early? Again, this is a prime example. I'm not saying price is going to win. We could still end up seeing price just absolutely fucking flop on us. But ultimately, this is why I stick to my bias. If I enter, it either hits my stop loss or hits my TP. What are the rules on funded account to pay out? Here, I'll send them to you. I'll send them to you to make it easier. So you can read them through. You can read that. Exactly, George. Got to be confident. Got to be confident. And again, like I said, like just because we're not coming into profits doesn't mean we're going to win this trade. Ultimately, we could still see price crash on us. But again, you guys can take this buy. I'm kind of considering it, guys, but at the same time, like my overall bias was to see this pullback happen first. And what I don't want to see is like this could just be an expansion to take liquidity of these highs here to then sell right back off into the discounted range of that 5-minute time frame. And that's definitely like something that I do want to avoid there. Oh yeah, UK 100 is going higher again. Like the bias for UK 100 is buys. It didn't look good anymore from a higher time frame standpoint. It just wasn't worth it. But again, you guys can still take buys here too, because just like DAX, the daily candle doesn't have a top wick. So ultimately, we can expect, a majority of the time, when there's no top wick or bottom wick, price will come and make those tops and bottom wicks. Could have gotten buys at breaker structure. Yeah, I guess like we could have gotten buys how to break this high, but that's just not my type of trading. I'd rather wait for like a pullback after that break, and then obviously, because this does confirm, I guess, that we are going to go higher. But again, like just the way I trade is I like to actually trade the trend. If like in like obviously with UK 100 DAX, I do take a break of highs and stuff like that. But then that would mean like my stop would need to be like all the way down here, because again, there is the chance that price does break these highs, and obviously it can rip, but there is a chance that price breaks these highs, pulls back, and if my stop is too small, I'm just going to get taken out of a trade too early. But again, I'm going to give it 6 more minutes, guys. We're looking good here. I could just wait. If price is going to continue to pump, I'll wait for our first TP to be hit. And again, once my first TP hit, that's a winning trade for me because I closed half of my position. I moved to break even, and I just let the rest run. Okay. I probably should stop drinking this Monster. I'm not going to sleep. www. Let's see what happens, guys. But who here is trading on a legacy account? Me, fire. Really, there's 70 you in here and only one fucking person answers me? Bad crash out. Again, this is where you guys need to talk. Like, you guys got to understand one thing. The people who actually talk and create conversation, ask questions, I don't want to say I'd like more. I love every single one of you for joining up, but that's a way to connect with people. It is. That's a way to connect with people like me. I answer every single chat. I also answer every single DM. People who DM me, again, like I respond to you. Sometimes I create a friendship off of that. And ultimately, those connects can lead you somewhere. Are we in any trade? Yes, I'm in DAX right now. I'm on TradeView on live account. Fire. Yo, what's up, Shadow? What's the view on NQ? So NQ right now, we clearly are bullish. We are still expanding this bullish range. Yes, you could have taken buys at a break of the structure, but that's just not my style of trading. Ultimately, what I'd want to wait for is a pullback of this bullish leg into some type of discounted price where we will look for a reaction off equilibrium, look for a reaction off 71%. Depending on where we get that reaction, then I'll look for that buying opportunity. But I need to see a reaction. Again, like if we just blow through these levels, it's just not good. Like this is a prime example of like why I wanted to wait for reactions, because we first had this bearish leg here. Okay, and we're waiting for some type of reaction to sell off. But what did price do? It just blew through these levels, did not give us a strong reaction, and that ultimately tells us that price is probably not going to continue bearish because buyers are clearly in control. We did end up selling off short term just to end up buying back up. So I'm new here. What's up, Shadow? If you want to ever join the Discord, our Discord is linked above. I'm also live in Discord. How many trades a day? Typically only one. I think with NQ, I've taken 2 before. Max 2 trades a day. Max. If that. How come I didn't wait for pullback on DAX? I did. So initially we had the break of structure here. And then we had London open right here on this candle. That ended up facilitating the pullback within this bullish leg. And that's why I took a break of these highs here. So I did wait for the pullback here. And then once I had that pullback right at London open, saw the break of that high. And that's why I did enter. Again, like if you're asking like why I did it a little bit differently compared to NQ, that's just because on NQ I trade the 1 minute. I'm trading solely reactions. I think NQ, it doesn't necessarily move differently. I use a lot of the same concepts and same like bias as far as my higher time frame bias when it comes to trading NQ. But when it comes to UK 100, I have so much data on UK 100 that it's just like I trade like that. Do I know when a pay interview will be live on YouTube? It should be soon, George. I believe they're editing. I believe they're done. I won a legacy account for Poker Night Nick. Taking a break from trading, though. Just here learning fire. I'm glad you won. If I was playing broker, if I was playing poker, I would have won. I'm sorry. I would have taken everyone's money. How do you properly use Fibonacci retracement higher time frame? So we can go to the hourly. And let's see here. So we initially saw this bearish price action. Okay, we saw bearish here. Right, but then what do we see? We saw a break of this high here. So being that we saw a break of a high within a bullish leg, what I would do is I would mark my fib from the very low of that range to the very high. And then I would see, okay, this is my discounted range. This is my premium range. Once price pulls back, I can ultimately expect price to continue with that bullish structure. And it did. This one just pulled back very deep. So then what do we see after that? We saw another high being broken. So once we saw that new high being broken, this is our new range. This is our low. This is our high. So I'd mark my fib from the low to the high because it's a bullish range. And then this is our new range that we're sitting within. So this is our discount, this is our premium. And obviously you can see price came down into 50%, which is discount technically. And then we saw what? Another break of structure. So this is our new leg because we facilitated a pullback. So this is our low, this is our high. We saw another break of structure, and so on, so on. First pullback on DAX is perfect, 50% retracement. Which one? Thanks, bro. DAX went up good. Fire. I'm glad it's going up good. Again, like I trade this way every single day, guys. Every single day. We killed it this month. If you guys are new here, like be here every single day. We absolutely fucking killed it on DAX UK 100 this month. I'm not even fucking joking. I was in demon mode last night. Nah, I'm like whatever at poker. I think one time I played and I just like I went all in, I'm pretty sure. And I lost. Because I had a shit deck or a shit hand, whatever. I thought you entered that breakout that higher high. Well, like I did technically enter at a breakout this higher high, Manny. And this is where it does differentiate from DAX to NQ, because with NQ, I would have entered at this level here. But with DAX, especially, like I have entered in those cases too. Like I can go back over here. Where is it? Is it right? Where is it at? It was cells. I'm gonna look for it. Hold on. I'm gonna find it. Fuck was it at? Here. So like on this one, I was just a lot more confident in entering at the 50% here than a rebreak of these lows, but I could have still entered at a break of these lows with the stop of the high and I still would have hit my 1 to 2. But I was more confident here because the higher time frames were a lot more clean in the general direction, or like the fact that we needed a pullback, and we had a very strong displacement to the downside, breaking structure. We had a pullback and I could have entered at the 50%. But either way, I still make sure that price is pulling back. In some cases, I will enter at 50%. In some cases, I won't. But this is another trade we won. Hello, happy all week. Do we have some sweet discount code? Yeah, so if you guys want a discount code, you can use code NICK for 15% off. Also, I think we are going to come out with a bigger discount tomorrow. So if you guys want to follow me on Instagram, tomorrow you will see a pretty good offer for you guys. So... But again, if you guys want to get an account right now, it's 15% off. And again, if you guys want to get an instant funded account where you just don't even have to deal with the evaluation phase, you can DM me as well, and I can send you out all the information for that. What, 20%? Tomorrow, it might be 25%. So again, that's why I said follow me on Instagram. You guys will see that. And yeah. When the NASDAQ composite fails, does gold usually go up or why? Right now, I don't really pay too much attention to that. Like we can compare it right now. Like we clearly are bullish on both, but I don't really pay too much attention to that. I really don't. Plus, I mean, this is a commodity. This is an index, and there are going to be differences based off of it. But like I guess like gold price could, I guess like. I mean, I think the only way like you'd see an impact on both, like that would be like comparable, is like if there's like some type of news call that could affect like something, you know, like I don't really pay attention to that though. Look at gold. Yeah, look at gold. All right, so gold bias. I hate gold, but I'll go over gold. Gold, we're clearly bullish. We're pumping. Let's peep. We just took Tokyo low, so ultimately, like I think that's why we are seeing some bullish expansion. We just took a prime area of liquidity from Tokyo. We could now come up and take Tokyo highs because again, it's just a liquidity game, guys. It really is. So I'd say buys. Where do you enter the way up from a pullback? So on a pullback, it just depends. Like some cases, depending on the quality of the trade, I will enter at the 50%. But if I would have entered at the 50% here, like my stops would have been at this low or below that low, just in case price did come lower like it did. And then obviously I'd go for a 1 to 2, which we would have damn near hit the 1 to 2 if we would have entered 50%. So this is data to get to. Like being that I didn't enter the 50% here, which again, like I don't necessarily always have to. And the reason I didn't is because I don't want to say the quality of the trade is bad. This is still a very good trade, but being that we didn't see a break of structure here, that really did tell me, okay, we may not end up seeing a win today, but ultimately the bias was still bullish, especially being that the daily still needed a flip. And that's why I did end up waiting for a rebreak of that high, because again, it tells me that one, price pulled back and is now confirming that it does want to go higher. If we would have entered at 50%, we would have had more risk on the trade, meaning we could have just seen price sell off and we would have been fucked. What's our TP and DAX here, bro? So my first TP is 101. So where I entered at a break of these highs, my first TP is 101. I'll take 50% of my position off and I'll move to break even. My final TP is at 25,288. And that's just a 1 to 2. That's a 1 to 2 from this point on. So the rest of my position after this area gets hit, I'll just look for that rest of that expansion. If it hits, great. We get paid a little bit extra. If it doesn't, that's fine because we took profits out. The pullback after you entered. Oh, yeah. Like this one. Yeah, that was beautiful too. Like you guys could enter there as well. The one thing I don't like is I don't think we broke these highs. We technically did, like we wicked them, but I like to see a full closure. Yeah, Mambas is 25%. Win 99% out, and that's crazy. But I don't think that 25% is going to be there forever. Actually, I think it's 30%. Like not Mambas, but like the deal that we have coming out for you guys. Go on Q, I went long on breaker structure. Fire. Again, guys, like you guys definitely could have taken the break of this structure to go higher. Price did end up ripping here, but it's just not my way of trading. And two, like it's not always promised that price is going to do that. But again, a lot of times it will do that. It's just I'd rather wait for that pullback. But at this point, I'm not going to trade it. So you could enter on 50% on the way up to make risk smaller. Technically, like your risk technically won't be smaller as far as like how much you're risking on the trade. But as far as like the amount of pips, yes, because like if I would have entered down here 50%, I would have only had a 45-point stop loss, meaning my TP, my full TP would have came a lot faster, like it did, because of the fact that I had a smaller stop loss. But the fact that I entered at a break of these highs forces my stop to be bigger. Therefore, I do have to wait for a decent longer time, I guess you could say. But again, going back to what I was saying is this is super good data for me, because again, I know I just showed you guys an example on UK 100 where I did enter at 50%, but ultimately again, like the higher time frames looked a lot better and gave me more confidence to enter at this point. DAX, the higher time frames look good. Yes, like I said, our bias was bullish, but ultimately it doesn't matter. Like you can wait for the break. Price in theory is most likely going to continue into these highs. I can pretty much guarantee that, unless something happens and price ends up flipping on us. But ultimately, I can expect price to come into these highs, because if we go to the daily time frame, we're bullish within this daily time frame. We facilitated a pullback, and we have now started expanding higher. And what's the next level that we can expect price to hit? This high, because this is our last high. It's a weak high. Okay, we never broke structure off that high. We just facilitated a pullback, and we can expect price to continue within this bullish trend. So again, like you definitely could have entered at 50%. You would have already been out. You would have already hit your 1 or 2. And everything like that. But again, like for me, just based off the probabilities of higher time frame, at least the hourly, I was a little bit pushed away from that. But again, like this is a very prime example of where I'm still getting data, even though I'm already making money, even though I'm already doing great, even though we've killed it this month. I'm always looking for ways to refine, find better entry points. And again, I do enter at 50% sometimes, but this data could ultimately tell me, okay, I could have entered at 50% and my TP would have been hit a lot sooner. Or I could have made a lot more money if I would have held longer than 1 to 2. Granted, I don't really ever hold longer than 1 to 2, but it's just an example of where I'm looking to always get data on these trades where we're still up, we're still in profits, we're still most likely going to win this trade. But if we don't, again, it'll tell me, okay, I could have entered a little bit earlier, even though it would have been a little bit riskier, because again, like it's not guaranteed that price would have reacted at this point. This reaction is what confirmed the direction for me, especially after the re-break of those highs, versus entering here. yes, there's still confirmation as far as this bullish leg, but price could have still remained bearish and still continued to sell off, and we would have been out and lost, right? That obviously wasn't the case, but it could have been the case. I'll snap by minute account, 250K account Evo. Yeah, I'd say start with 150K and then go up from there. I entered half the size of 50% and then the rest of your entry. Yeah, fire, George. That's definitely like a solid fucking approach. 100%. 100%. I love that approach, actually. Because, again, it allows you to have a faster TP at that entry, and then you're also putting your second position in fire. There's no more discount codes. Yeah, you can use code Nick for 50%. Actually, I don't think the discounts are working right now, guys. I think there was like a back-end issue where the discounts weren't working. So if you're putting the discount codes in, they're not working. Just wait till tomorrow. The team's already working on it, so you'll be good tomorrow. So you trade off if equilibrium. Yes, in most cases, yeah. But in this case, in a lot of cases, I wait for that equilibrium to be hit and to have a reaction off of it, because that ultimately tells me, okay, price is holding within this bullish leg. And now that we are holding at this level, re-breaking highs, that tells me that price is most likely going to continue higher. It's just a little extra confirmation for the direction or where I expect price to go, I guess you could say. But again, like I do both. It just depends on the probabilities of the setup. It depends on the higher time frames, depends on how high of a quality trade or setup that it is. I will play it a little bit riskier and enter at the 50%. So you're saying if you risk 100 on a trade, you take partial TP1, meaning you secure 50, and the rest TP2, you make another 100. Yeah, Manny, that's exactly what I do. So again, I'm not catching that full like $200. Sorry. So I technically, like, if I would have risked $100, I wouldn't make that full $200. But the reason I do that is because based off my data from last year, where if you guys were here last year, I took a lot of break-even trades because I was a one-on-one trader, or I was a one-on-one trader first, but I also took a lot of break-even trades where I found it very promising to, let's say I take this trade, right? Obviously we did. If it hits my one-on-one, I'll move to break-even, take 50% off because it pays me. Just in case price does reverse on us, at least I'm getting paid. And then I'm also giving it more room for more upside potential to pay me extra. I love how DAX you can run. They're quite predictable, but they also swing a lot. And the same stops I use for NQ really work the same way. Yeah, Lexi, that's why my stops are very different when it comes to DAX and UK 100 versus NQ. Like NQ, I have a set stop loss. DAX and UK 100, it's not a set stop loss. It's a stop loss based off where that last structural low or high was. That's why my stops are down here, because that's the last structural low. Technically, this should be protected. If price were to pull back like it kind of is right now, realistically, it should just pull back into a discounted range and then go higher. Versus if I had a set stop loss, especially right here on entry, I probably would have been fucked, right? NQ is ugly. Yeah, it's just pumping. I took 10 trades of equal only 1/8 out of it. Yeah, Big Papa, honestly, it's fire. Like, you guys got to understand something is like, if you just follow price in any market where you see a break of structure to the upside, you mark up your fib. If you take like an entry at 50%, stops at the low of that last low of that bullish expansion, 1 to 2, or even 1 to 1, you're most likely going to hit more than you're going to lose. Because again, as long as you're understanding the general direction of price is going to move in those wave-like patterns where we have pullbacks, have expansion, have pullbacks, have expansion. And obviously price can come lower than 50%. That's why like my stops would be at the lows, because we can even like use this as like the higher time frames once again as an example on DAX. Is if we go to the hourly, what do we see? If we traded the hourly, obviously we had a break structure. So if we marked up our fib, entered at 50%, stops below the lows, we almost would have got taken out, but we stayed in. Boom, banger. What happened next? We had another break of structure. Oh my God, I can't fucking do shit. Hold on. Let me delete this. We had another break of structure. We mark up our fib, entry at 50%, stops at low, TP at high, nice little 101. And then we could continue that all the way up at this new breaker structure, new fib, entry, stops, TP. And obviously in this case, like in these two cases, price just hit equilibrium and flew. But in this example, price came lower than equilibrium, but still ended up staying valid within that bullish structure. I love NQ right now. Crew, we get it. You're making money without us. I'm just kidding. Oh, who was that? Huh? Ding. Chance. It was one of my students. Again, guys, like my students have my number because they have 24/7 access to me. He's trading with me, and he's just asking me, have I moved to break even yet? Because he's not able to attend to the charts. And that's one thing about, having access to me is just you're able to get information, if you're busy or something like that. What's my set stop loss for NAS? It's just 10 points. My set stop loss is 10 points. I have my stop loss at 249, brought me in at Fire Crew. Which fib is right? Oof. It would be the first one. The first one, just because that's the first one is the low of that range, but I think it's flipped. No, you're right. Yeah, it's the first one because that's the low that led to that 1 minute breaker structure. Even though we're expanding higher, those little like chops in between, these little like things right here, that's not necessarily a new low. Like it's just kind of like consolidation, some choppy price. In some case, some people may consider a new low, but I don't. Like what would be a new low for me to move my fib is if we saw price pull back into equilibrium and then we saw price expand more. Then at that point, I could have a new fib because that's my new leg that I'm playing within, being we had a pullback and we had another break of these highs. So your first one's right. All right, I gotta head out. Good day so far. I'll catch you on fire. Can I text you, Chance? No. I'm just kidding. Yeah, my Discord. Nick, thanks, bro. See you tomorrow, of course, Jay. Yeah, see you, Nick Fire. How high of a time frame do you usually use equal only on? It's not just about equilibrium only. Like I use it on all time frames to like figure out a bias. Like again, like with DAX, I go to the highest time frame, the daily, and I see, okay, the daily was bullish. We had to pull back into the discounted range of this daily leg. Okay, but you got to remember, like, this is multi-time frame analysis for you. I can go down to the 1 hour and see after we had that daily pullback, which is down here, we saw price expand, and then we still saw price pull back into discount, expand, pull back into discount, expand, pull back into discount. So I use fibs on all time frames. Do you think NQ coming back down? I think NQ will come down at some point. It's just obviously clearly expanding. It's just nothing that I'm very interested in. Like I it's just kind of going out of my trading hours to really even want to look for something. But at the same time, like price could still come down, react, and go higher. Again, like I have seen trades happen at 3 in the morning, but I'm just done trading it. Nick chop number else. Henry finna call in the Drake red candle. Z, they're called Nick candles now. You didn't know? You could fib on every level if you use it right. Yeah, Big Papa. As long as you're identifying the right leg. Like you don't want to just like not like in this case here, if I drew the fib from this low to this high, in my mind it would be wrong. Because like if we delete this, some people could consider this a break of structure, but I like to see a full candle closure. If a candle closed above this, then pulled back and then expanded, okay, this would have been my low. But since price didn't close above these highs until this candle here, this would be my low. And that would be my high. So again, like if price does end up hitting our 101, let me put this back. If price does end up hitting our 101, like very soon, the reason, like this is another big reason I pay myself too. And ultimately, like I'm still looking to get data because let's say price does hit my 101 very soon. we still have room, being that price made a new bullish leg, for price to pull down, facilitate a pullback, and then continue higher. And at that point, yes, I'm only securing 50% of my position and the rest is getting taken out at break even. But obviously price could just dump. But two, if let's say it did hit TP, pulled back and continued higher, and I didn't end up getting my full take profit because the rest of my position got taken out break even, that's ultimately data that I'm going to use going into next year. And the reason I say next year is because I'm not just going to allow this one singular trade based off what happens to dictate what I'm going to do tomorrow or next week or even next month. Because, yeah, I'm still in shadow. Because you guys got to understand, like, data is only useful if you have a lot of data to back up making a change or something along those lines. Like last year, I stayed with the same management plan. Like the only thing I changed from last year to this year is my management plan. Everything stayed the same as far as entries, as far as how I look at the markets. But the reason I changed it is because I had a year's worth of data showing me that these specific things were happening. Therefore, if I were to change my management plan, not only would I pay myself on the trades that go south after 101, I would be able to catch more than a 101 because of the fact that I am holding to a 102, but my stops are protected. Wait, can you say that again? I could get on the chat. Yeah, Big Papa. So like what I said was, you said you could use fib on every level if you use it right. Yes. So like I'd say you can use a fib on every level as long as you're identifying the proper leg. Like if you're just marking up every higher low that comes in between price, like this to me, like let's say this was our bullish leg and we marked our fib up, price never hit 50% but expanded higher. To me, this still remains our low and we just move our fib up. Okay, because if you were to, let's say, use this new leg here and mark your fib here, the chances of you seeing price fall through this to facilitate the pullback of that first leg is a lot more likely. Okay, so that's where you have to make sure you're identifying the right low, the right high, and overall making sure that you're identifying the right structure. M and Q come in equilibrium, maybe? Yeah, honestly, it could. I think we will see a pullback. It won't hit to 101 if you don't drop the digits. I got friends in Frankfurt. Henry, don't scare me, bro. Thank you. He's pulling back now. What if it only plays to 1/3? Is that not enough for a new long? Honestly, M, in my opinion, if price does not come to equilibrium, I am not going to look for another long, because of the fact that, like, yes, we can see price come here and then continue higher. But again, just like what I explained, is to me, that would just ultimately expand that bullish leg, because that pullback never happened. That rebalance never happened. I need to see price pull back into a discounted range and then break higher, and then that would be considered a new bullish leg. But I would personally wait for 50% or for price to hit 50% of this leg if you were to enter. But that's just my opinion. Manny, because based off what I've seen, again, like we just started trading NQ during London about a month ago. And I was the same way. Like I've always heard of like trading NQ during New York because it's the best session, but we still see a lot of really good movement during London. Like all the back testing I did before I ended up making a system for this was just understanding, okay, price is still moving in the general way that price should move. We still move in a wave-like pattern where we see a breaker structure, have a pullback, see a breaker structure, have a pullback, see a breaker structure, have a pullback, and then we flip. Obviously, there's other components involved like liquidity, fair value gaps, and stuff like that. But price was moving so good that I wanted to start trading NQ during London. And plus, it helps you guys to be able to start trading your legacy accounts too. Can we have your fib settings? Yeah. It's just 0, 0.5, 0.71, and 1. Later, crew. I'll see you. I agree. I feel like the biggest problem is not understanding what the actual low is. Yeah, that's definitely people's biggest problem. Like a lot of my students that come in, they do struggle with that. But again, like that's just why I'm there to fix it, because again, they allow like this internal structure to fuck them up. But to me, being that we didn't break that high prior to this pullback, and then we broke the high after we expanded higher, this is my low, this is my high. So I do think price could pull back into here and then continue higher, which honestly, I actually don't mind if price pulls back right now. I know I haven't taken profits because price hasn't hit my take profit, at least my first take profit. But the reason I'd prefer that to happen now is because if price facilitates this pullback now and then expands higher, I at least don't have to worry about price hitting my TP and then pulling back after the fact. Because again, I just went over the fact that if price hit my TP right now, we still are exposed and left open to price pulling back, taking its out of break even and then going higher. But if that pullback happens now within this new bullish leg, at least we know the pullback's out of the way. It hits TP, and then yes, another pullback can occur, but at least at that point, it's less likely for price to come all the way down to break even. Of course, official. Only trade NQ just made 700. Let's go. Thank you, Nick, for answering all my question. I appreciate it, bro. Sorry. Nah, bro. Again, you guys never get annoying. That's why I'm here. Like, ask any question you guys want. Again, like, I'm always answering trading questions. I'm always helping you guys out just because, again, that's why we're here. I want you guys to succeed. And even if it's just like learning who I am and why I trade and what, like, why I look at certain things, again, like, I'm always going to tell you guys. Can't log into Legacy. I'm in. Yes, sir. Cheek H, you understand the game. Again, guys, the way I trade, like, I truly say that's just the way price, like, that's the way price moves. Like, it moves in waves. We'll see price push into a premium, come back down to a discount. Obviously, liquidity is definitely a big factor. But again, like, the way I think about it is like this: is like institutions and banks. Again, they push price to a higher price so they can sell it off into a discounted price where they can then buy back in at a discounted, cheaper price, push it up to a higher price so they can sell it back off at a higher price into a discounted price, and it's just a repeated game from there. That's the way I look at it. Would this be proper? Big pop, I think that's too small of a range. Like, if that's your fib that you drew up there, like, you could I've seen people do that before, is like they'll trade like the last, let's say minute expansion leg or something like that. Like, let's say they'll look at the last, some people like will look at the 5 minute and will mark out this leg and wait for that pullback into the 50% of that leg to go higher, or I mean that candlestick to go higher. That's the way to do it. But I think the correct way to do it is ultimately identifying the true leg that price is ranging or trading within, which is this low to this high, which actually that's just the 1 minute. Like the true range, like the true leg that we're playing within the 5 minute is this low here, because this was the low that led to that first initial change of character of price. We never got the pullback here, so therefore this expansion here is just stretching out that range. So truly, I do think we will see a pullback of this 5 minute leg at some point, unless price is just going to continue higher. So are we expanding retest index? What do you mean? Like, are you saying, like, are we waiting for the retest and then looking for the expansion? Ultimately, price can do that, if that's what you're asking. Again, like, yes, just because we did create this new bullish leg, price does have room to pull back, to facilitate a pullback within that new bullish leg to then go higher. Obviously, price can just continue going higher and higher and higher and higher and higher, but at some point we will see that pullback, and that could be what's happening now, which again, like, I don't necessarily mind, because we've already confirmed that we are bullish within these last two legs here, to the point where if price did pull back here, I can almost assume that price will just be facilitating a pullback to then expand higher. So again, like, if you guys, like, I'm not going to exit this trade. The only way I move to break even is if my 101 gets hit. Again, I'd rather take the loss. And that's an example over here too. Like, someone had asked me, am I going to exit this trade? No. Just because we're in drawdown, I'm not going to exit that trade, because again, like, until my management plan, or until my first TP gets hit and I can actually follow through with my management plan, then I'm going to stay in the trade. UK 100 ran higher too. Again, very expected. It's just lower time frames didn't give us entry. I can't catch break. My phone died. Would that be on what, Big Papa? Like here? Like on DAX? I'd say it'd be proper displacement. Again, like we did end up like hesitating here, but then we saw a lot of bullish pressure, a lot of bullish volume blow through these highs after the fact with the very, very nice candles. So I did think this was proper displacement. Obviously, it would have been nicer to see it on this first initial try here, but obviously that didn't happen. Oh, on the fib you put in the chat? Okay. I'd say so. Like, I think that was, a nice little bullish expansion that we saw there, Big Papa. But what I had said after seeing that is I do see people trade that way where they'll look for that bullish expansion candle and mark up, that candle as their Fibonacci, but that's just not the way I trade. I want to make sure that I am identifying the actual low of that entire leg or the actual high of that entire leg, because in some cases, if you just mark up that candle, like this candle, if you just mark up this candle, yes, price can come down, retest within that candle and then go higher. But in some cases, you are going to take those losses because price is ultimately going to react based off the fact that it's still sitting within this entire bullish leg. And you could just get caught in that loss because price needs to facilitate a deeper pullback. Thanks for all the great explanation. Got it to Sac. See you tomorrow. See you tomorrow, Vex. If we were to go bearish trend, can we use the fib retracement meant in the same concept you described? Yeah, it goes both ways. So if we're in a bearish trend, we'd mark up the fib from the high to the low, so going down, and we would just wait for the same thing. We'd wait for price to come into a higher price or a premium price, and then ultimately at that point we could expect price to continue lower. But again, this is why higher time frames are so important, is because just looking at the 5-minute, yes, you can catch a lot of trades just within like the 5-minute structure, but the reason the higher time frames is so important is because it kind of gives you an overall bias like of where price should go. Like again, what are we looking at the higher time frames? We saw a break of structure, we saw a pullback, saw a break of structure, saw a pullback, and here we didn't really see a full break of structure because we wicked it, but at the end of the day, we're still within this bullish trend. We still completed a pullback, and realistically, we are still bullish. So that's where I look to the lower time frames to get confirmation of that bullish trend still occurring, and we are seeing that. We're seeing price still break structure, still pullback, break structure. Ultimately, I'm hoping we see a pullback and a continuation of price. But yeah, bearish trend, bullish trend use the same concepts. Yeah, Casper's right. In a bullish trend, the fib goes from the bottom to the top, so up. In a bearish trend, the fib goes from the top to the bottom, so down. So let's see what happens here, guys. Again, we are coming back a little bit, but I'm not tripping because, again, I think we could just be seeing a pullback of this leg. And ultimately, if price just absolutely fucking blows through and we lose, it is what it is. You can't do much about it. But granted, just based off the way the lower time frames are playing, I do think that is what will most likely happen, especially if we are looking to continue higher, which I do think we will, especially because the daily time frame, again, like we still have no top wick on the daily. We're seeing a nice daily retracement, and I do expect price to create that daily top wick. If DAX keep going down, where would the retest point be? It just depends. So we can remove this. Being that this is our low, this is our high, price could just come down to the 50% and react higher. And I think it's more likely to do that because we have a nice order block here that price could also react from to go higher. But price could come down as far as here and still end up coming higher. That's why my stops are at these lows of this position here, because of the fact that price could come down as far as that low before making its next bullish expansion. But realistically, I do think price will most likely just hit 50% and go higher. Unless, again, price has a different objective, and that's just to continue sell off. And again, that's fine. So for what I just explained is depending on the way price is moving. So if we're on a bullish trend, the way you would mark your fib is from the ultimate low to the high. So think about it. If we're bullish, you mark the fib going up, going up. If we're bearish, in a bearish trend, you'd mark it from the high to the low, and you would mark your fib going down. So again, think about it. Bullish, you mark your fib from the top going up. If it's bearish, you mark it from the, if it's bullish, you mark it from the bottom going up. If it's bearish, you mark it from the top going down. I no chance, it is past my bedtime. Where I'm seeing now looks like it is going to reverse here. Henry, I knew you made a call. I dropped the digits. I'm going to drop my business phone. My second phone. Just so I don't get your guys' text. But again, guys, it is getting pretty late. I think we've had a good day so far. Obviously, my TPs have not been hit yet. But again, everything stays the same. My stop is still below these lows just a little bit. Appreciate you, King. I'll definitely stay in contact with you on Discord chat tomorrow, fam. Fire. Yeah, guys, again, you can always DM me any questions, stuff like that. Also, if you guys want an instant funded account, just DM me on Discord, DM me on Instagram. My Instagram's Niicksfx, and I'll send you all the information for that. And then if you guys want to start running that up, great. You guys can also use code Nick for a 15% discount if you don't really want the instant funded. Fine. Also, the YouTube video that I linked, again, you guys can go comment for a chance to win a free account if you guys want that. Okay, I'll take that promise. Let's pump back up. It better, Henry. But again, guys, thank you guys for joining. We had a good little day. Again, I'm still going to be monitoring this trade. If you guys are in my personal Discord, I will be keeping you guys up to date as far as what's happening, if I move to break even, if I don't, and everything along those lines. So I'm out of here. I'll see you guys tomorrow, same time, 11:45 p.m. PST. I'll be here on YouTube, Discord. I'm outie. Let's see what this happens on this trade. Again, I'll be posting it no matter what happens. So see you guys tomorrow. Again, what's the personal? DM me. I don't want to link my personal in the chat, but if you guys DM me on Discord, I'll send it over to you. Catch you later, bro. Later, guys. Later, YouTube. I'm out.